Hi, my name is Isabel Martinez. This is my course reflection for EDSU 7322 Human Resource Management with Dr. Delesa Franklin. And yeah, let's get going. The key concepts that I took away from this course were the sections on recruitment, induction, specifically mentoring, on professional development, performance evaluation, compensation, and that it doesn't always have to include monetary compensation. There are other forms of compensation. And one of the scriptures that I believe align with what I took away from this class is the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. So even though I've worked in leadership of some type of shape or form for the last 7 to 10 years, it doesn't mean that I know everything, right? Because I don't. While I have hired and fired people, I have never been solely responsible for the human resource section of my organizations. And I believe that if we close ourselves off to thinking that we know everything or thinking that there's nothing else I can learn, we become fools, right? And so knowing that to be wise is to fear the Lord, right? Like the scripture says, is to make space for learning, make space for instruction, make ourselves available for those things. One of the areas that I'm most comfortable in is the section on professional development. The reasons is that I have worked as a consultant and developed training plans for childcare centers. So essentially, when I would assess and observe the classrooms, I would identify their growth points and their pain points, and then develop a training plan for each individual teacher based on my assessment. So I'm pretty familiar with developing a plan for professional growth. And even in my work at the tribe as a curriculum director, I was responsible for creating the training plan or the annual education plan for our department. So basically, it's all the professional learning that takes place. I was responsible for the professional learning communities and developing any ongoing training that was needed and bringing in outside partners to do training with our agencies as well within our education department. So again, pretty comfortable, pretty familiar with it. And I also learned how to align the training that we did with minimum standards. So, and currently like with state and federal standards, specifically working towards aligning what the grants want with what we're training our staff in. While I'm comfortable with professional development, recruitment and selection is perhaps the area where I have the most to learn and the biggest area for growth. One of the reasons is that I have never developed a job description from scratch. Most of the places that I worked already had the positions filled or had positions already posted with a job description attached. I think when I took this class, I was able to identify some of the things that I need in order to develop a job description. One of the things that I thought about is looking at qualities that are needed. So seeing the staff that I currently have and highlighting the qualities that I want to reflect. Additionally, that these are qualities that are in individuals and might not necessarily be present in a resume. If I want someone who's empathic, I can't find that in a resume. I can only see that through working with them or being present in a space with them, but recognizing that this is a quality that I want to have in a staff person. So that's something that's really important for me, and I think that the course kind of solidified the need for growth in this area. In looking at the Christian perspective of this course, I think of Titus 2:1. You, however, must teach what is appropriate to sound doctrine. So what that says to me is that it's not always what we think is right. It's what is appropriate and what is wise and what is sound doctrine. Like, what is something that I've learned that is sound and factual, and that's what I should teach. I shouldn't teach my opinion or my perspective, but essentially what the goal of the agency is, or what the goal of the program is. What are the metrics? What's the strategic plan that needs to be accomplished? And so I think someone in human resources is the ideal person to do that, right? A leader needs to demonstrate patience and willingness to support. It can't just be something that happens. It has to be something that they're willing to work towards. And when working in human resources, whether that's in a school or a nonprofit, they're essentially the voice of the agency. They're the ones who identify the people that could potentially lead the agency to a new place, right? They might not be the ones that are managing it, but they're the ones that are filtering through and identifying the potential leaders in the program or in the agency. Additionally, human resources is able to filter out the policies and procedures to see what's appropriate, right? Not everything that is requested from an agency deserves to have a policy or a procedure implemented. And I think human resources can help identify, because that's part of their specialty, can help identify what are things that need to be in writing. In part of that is that recognizing that discernment is needed. This position is something that requires a lot of discernment. Not just anybody can do it. And these are the references for this presentation. It was, of course, our textbook and the King James Version of scriptures. I really appreciated this class, and I look forward to hopefully working with you again in the future. Thank you so much. Have a great one.